People love setting goals. They're shiny, exciting, and they give us something to chase. But goals will let you down if you don't love the path that leads to them. Anyone can get hyped about a goal, losing 20 pounds, making 6 figures, writing a book. Problem is, goals live in the future, but the path is what you wake up to every single day. And if you hate your path, if every step feels like punishment, you'll never stick with it long enough to reach the finish line. That's why discipline fades for so many people. They're chasing an outcome, but resenting the process. And when that feeling gets strong enough, they quit. Not because they couldn't reach the goal, but because they couldn't stand the path that was supposed to get them there. Discipline isn't about pushing harder. It's about setting up a path you're willing to walk day in, day out. That means building a routine that fits your life, your energy, and your values. Not someone else's plan and not what looks cool on social media. Let's say your goal is to get fit. That's great. But are you picking a path you can stick to? Because if you're forcing yourself to do 6 a.m. workouts when you're not a morning person, or eating like a robot with zero joy, how long do you think that will last? Probably not long. Instead, ask, what path makes sense for me? Maybe you love late night gym sessions. Maybe your version of eating clean still includes pizza once a week. That's okay. The best path is the one that you'll keep walking. Because the path isn't just the way to your goal, it becomes your life. If you want to write a book, don't fall in love with being an author, fall in love with writing every day. If you want to run a marathon, don't chase the finish line. Fall in love with lacing up your shoes, with the training, with the early mornings and sore legs. You don't need to be obsessed, but you do need to respect the process. You need to set up habits that align with your real life, not just your dream outcome. Here's something people forget. Goals give you the direction, but your path gives you momentum. And that momentum is what creates discipline. Because every small step reinforces your identity. When you walk your path consistently, you begin to say, this is who I am. This is what I do. And that identity shift is where real discipline comes from. Not from forcing yourself, but from seeing yourself as someone who follows through. You have to find joy in the process. When you learn to enjoy the path, even the hard parts, you stop waiting for the goal to make you feel good. You start to find the pride in your journey itself, and that's the game changer. Because now success isn't some faraway thing, it's something you get to feel today just by showing up. So if your discipline has been fading, maybe it's not that you're weak. Maybe it's that you've been focusing too much on the goal and not enough on the path. Step back and ask yourself, does this path support the life I want to live? Am I building something I can maintain? Can I enjoy the steps, not just the outcome? If the answer is no, then adjust the path. Don't throw away the vision, just change how you're walking toward it. Because lasting discipline doesn't come from chasing harder. It comes from walking your path one step at a time and trusting that every step matters. Not just because of where it's going, but because of who you're becoming along the way. The mirror is honest. It shows you your reflection, the skin, the scars, the weight, the wrinkles, the tired eyes. It doesn't sugarcoat, it doesn't flatter. It gives you a snapshot of what's on the outside. But don't be fooled. Because while the mirror doesn't lie, it also doesn't tell the whole truth. It doesn't show the battles you fought just to stand where you are today. It doesn't show the nights you stayed strong when everything around you was falling apart. And it doesn't show the discipline you've been building, the self-control you're working on, the courage it took just to start. The mirror shows your reflection, but it can't show your resilience. It doesn't see how hard you're trying. It doesn't see the pain you're healing from. It doesn't see the moments you chose growth over comfort when no one was watching. And that's the danger. Too many people judge their entire worth by what they see in the mirror. They see extra weight and call themselves lazy. They see gray hairs and call themselves old. They see tired eyes and call themselves broken. But let me remind you, a mirror can only show you one version of you. It can't reflect your heart, it can't measure your progress, and it can't capture your potential. So when you stand in front of it, don't look for judgment, look for accountability. Ask yourself, am I moving in the direction of the person I want to become? Not, do I look perfect? Not, am I where I think I should be by now? Just, am I showing up for myself today? Because real growth is not always visible. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs happen long before they show on the surface. Like choosing water over soda, getting out of bed instead of hitting snooze, saying no to that toxic relationship, and saying yes to yourself, maybe for the first time in years. The mirror can't show those things, but you can feel them. So don't let a piece of glass tell you who you are. Let your habits tell the story. Let your mindset shape your identity. Let your actions build your confidence. You are not failing just because you don't see instant results. The person you're becoming, the life you're building, it's growing in silence, like roots before a tree ever breaks the surface. When the reflection doesn't match your vision, keep going. When you feel stuck or unseen, keep going. When you're tempted to quit because it doesn't look like it's working, keep going. Because you are more than what you see in the mirror. The discipline behind closed doors, the quiet strength when nobody claps, and the tears you wiped away before walking into work like nothing was wrong. That's who you are. So yes, the mirror is honest, but it's not complete. And neither are you yet. But you're becoming, you're rebuilding, you're rising. And that version of you, the one that's growing in the background, that's the one the mirror can't reflect just yet. But you know they're coming. So until then, take what the mirror gives you, but look deeper, because you hold the full truth, and that truth has yet to be revealed. Let's get clear on this. Success is yours to define, not society's, not your parents, not your friends. It's yours. And yet so many people spend their lives chasing a vision of success that was never truly theirs to begin with. This world loves to hand out definitions of success like a checklist. It's a certain job title, a big house, a luxury car, or a picture-perfect life. But what if none of that excites you? What if success for you means traveling the world, or raising a loving family, or making an impact in your community? Would you still chase the traditional version of success just because that's what everyone else is doing? Success is and should be personal. It should be unique because it's yours to create. And the moment you take ownership of what success means to you, everything changes. But here's where most people go wrong. They don't define success for themselves. They assume it's a vague feeling of accomplishment. They'll just know when they get there. But if you don't know what you're aiming for, how will you ever hit the target? You won't. And that's why so many people feel unfulfilled. They're chasing a goal they never set for themselves. So, start by getting clear. What does an ideal life look like for you? Not in someone else's eyes, but in your own. What excites you? What drives you? What makes you feel alive? Once you get that vision, write it down, make it real, and then break it into steps. Success isn't achieved overnight, it's built piece by piece through daily action. And just so we understand each other, success isn't just about external achievements. It's about internal fulfillment. There are a lot of wealthy people in the world who are miserable because they chased a definition of success that had nothing to do with who they really are. Meanwhile, some of the happiest people have very little by society standards, but they wake up each day with purpose and joy. And that's real success. Once you define success on your terms, you have to protect it. Because the moment you start walking your own path, the world will start to question you. People will try to impose their own version of success onto you. They'll tell you what you should want, what you should do, and who you should be. But their definition is not your definition. Their dream is not your dream. The only way to truly succeed is to stay focused on your vision. Stop measuring your life by someone else's ruler. Stop worrying about what others think. The only approval you need is your own. So take some time today and reflect. What does success mean to you? What does a fulfilled life look like in your eyes? And once you have that answer, write it down, commit to it, and start taking action. Because success isn't given, it's created, and it's yours to define. We live in a world addicted to noise. Music in our ears, notifications pinging, videos playing in the background, a constant stream of voices, updates, opinions, and distractions. And most of us, we've become terrified of silence. Because silence forces us to meet the person we've always been avoiding, ourselves. When was the last time you sat still and truly listened to what was going on inside you? Not scrolling, not multitasking, not filling the space with mindless chatter. Just sitting, breathing, hearing the thoughts you keep pushing down. A lot of people are running from themselves, drowning out the discomfort of their own thoughts. Probably afraid of what they might hear if they slow down long enough to actually listen. So they stay busy, they stay noisy. They keep moving, thinking that if they just stay distracted, they won't have to confront what's really there. But here's the secret no one tells you. The silence you're avoiding, it's where all your answers reside. When you finally get quiet, you start to understand what's been holding you back. You start to hear the fears that have been running the show from behind the scenes. You start to notice the dreams you've been ignoring because they felt inconvenient or risky. You start to reconnect with the version of yourself you abandoned trying to keep up with everyone else. And that's where the real power begins. Because clarity doesn't come from adding more noise. It comes from subtraction, from stillness, from asking yourself the hard questions and waiting long enough to hear the answers. Questions like, am I living the life I actually want? Or the one I thought I was supposed to want? What's been bothering me that I keep brushing under the rug? Who am I when no one's watching? And I know it can be uncomfortable. You might not love everything you find when you go inward. But that's the point. Growth doesn't come from pretending. Change doesn't come from avoidance. Transformation starts when you finally sit with the raw, unfiltered truth of where you are and who you've become. Once you stop filling the silence and start listening to yourself, you realize you've had the answers all along. You've been waiting for someone else to give you permission, to hand you the map, to show you the way. But the whole time, it was already inside you, buried under the noise. So if you're feeling stuck, lost, uninspired, maybe the solution isn't doing more. Maybe it's doing less. Maybe it's turning the volume down on the world and turning it up on your own inner voice. Block out the distractions. Sit with silence and listen. Because that voice inside of you, it's not just noise. It's wisdom. It's guidance. It's the key to everything you've been searching for. Stop running. Stop filling the quiet. And finally, hear yourself speak. Life isn't something that just happens to us. It's not a series of random events we're forced to endure or adapt to. Life is meant to be created, to be sculpted and lived on purpose. That's the essence of living intentionally. Living intentionally means making conscious decisions about how you spend your time, energy, and focus. It's about taking control, choosing your priorities, and acting in alignment with what truly matters to you. It's not letting the world dictate your direction, but creating a life that reflects your values, goals, and dreams. So take a moment to reflect on this. How much of your day is spent reacting? Reacting to emails, social media notifications, unexpected events, or even the opinions of others. If we're honest, most people live reactively, moving from one thing to the next without a clear plan or purpose. But living intentionally flips the script. It gives you the power to say, this is my life and I'm going to live it my way. Consider the story of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Before she built a billion-dollar business, she was selling fax machines door to door. That wasn't her dream. It was a job that paid the bills. But one day she decided to stop living reactively and start living intentionally. She identified her passion, wrote down her goals, and took deliberate steps toward them. Blakely didn't wait for the perfect opportunity. She created it. Living intentionally doesn't mean life will be free of obstacles. It means you'll face these obstacles with clarity and purpose. When you live with intention, you wake up each morning with a sense of direction. You're not wandering aimlessly. You're walking a path that you've chosen. That path gives you confidence because you're no longer at the mercy of the wind. You're steering the ship. So how do you live intentionally? It starts with knowing what you want. Take the time to reflect on your values and your goals. What truly matters to you? What kind of life do you want to create? Write it down. Clarity is key. Once you have a vision, start aligning your actions with that vision. This means saying no to the things that don't serve you. It means letting go of distractions and focusing on what moves the needle in your life. Living intentionally isn't about being busy, it's about being effective. It's about doing the right things, not just doing more things. Why should you live this way? Because the alternative is letting life slip by. When you live intentionally, you take ownership of your story. You build self-confidence because every decision, every action, it reinforces the idea that you're in control. You gain strength because you're no longer wasting energy on things that don't matter. And most importantly, you find fulfillment. Living intentionally transforms the mundane into the meaningful. Even the smallest actions, when aligned with your purpose, take on a greater significance. A simple workout isn't just exercise. It's a commitment to your health. Reading a book isn't just passing time, it's investing in your growth. Every moment becomes a building block in the life you're creating. So ask yourself, are you living intentionally? Or are you letting life happen to you? Remember, you have the power to decide. Your life is your canvas, and every day is an opportunity to paint a masterpiece. Stop waiting for life to align itself for you. Take the brush in your hands, define your vision, choose your colors, and create with intention. The power, the confidence, and the fulfillment you're seeking aren't out there somewhere. They're within you, waiting to be unlocked. It all begins with one decision: to live with purpose, to live with focus, to live intentionally. Success is not something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming valuable. In every arena, whether it's sports, business, relationships, or life itself, the rewards go to those who bring the most value. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the ones who consistently show up and offer something meaningful to the table. Value is what sets you apart. It's the edge that makes you indispensable. You don't become valuable by demanding recognition, attention, or opportunities. You become valuable by working on yourself, sharpening your skills, and offering something that no one else can. The most valuable players in sports aren't the ones who talk about greatness. It's the ones who put in the hours, perfect their crafts, and lift the team when it matters most. In business, the most successful companies aren't chasing trends. They're creating solutions, solving problems, and making life easier for their customers. The principle is universal. If you want success, focus on what you're bringing, not what you're getting. But becoming valuable isn't easy. It requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to grow. It means looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what can I offer that no one else can? Or how can I improve today so I'm better tomorrow? These are tough questions, but they're the ones that lead to greatness. Value starts with mastery. Master your craft, your role, your strengths. If you're an athlete, train harder. If you're in business, study the market, understand your customers, and find innovative ways to serve. Whatever your field, become a student of excellence. The world doesn't reward mediocrity. It rewards those who've committed to being the best version of themselves. And here's another truth. Value is also about character. It's not just what can you do, it's about how you show up. Are you dependable? Are you a problem solver? Are you the kind of person people want to work with, follow, or be around? Value is as much about who you are as it is about what you can produce. Now let's address the temptation to chase success. Many people spend their lives running after opportunities, trying to grab what they think they deserve. But chasing is exhausting and it often leads nowhere. Instead, focus on becoming so good, so skilled, so valuable that success can't ignore you. When you're valuable, the opportunities will find you. Understand that the world rewards value. It rewards unique skills, ideas, and energy. Don't wait for someone to give you a chance. Create your own. Don't sit back and hope for success to knock on your door. Become the kind of person success seeks out. So how do you start? Commit to constant improvement. Look for ways to serve others. Focus on contribution rather than competition. And remember, value isn't built in a day. It's built daily through small, consistent actions that lead to extraordinary results. Success doesn't come to those who want it. It comes to those who earn it by becoming valuable. So stop chasing, start becoming. Build yourself into the kind of person who adds so much to the world that the rewards naturally flow to you. Your time, your energy, your focus, they're your investments. And the more you invest in becoming valuable, the more the world will invest in you.